Feeling way too spicy for this one. Feeling way too spicy for this one, man. Okay, let's get it today. Upward Spiral Gang. What is going on? Last night I had channeled Uncle P. It was my first time channeling a leprechaun's energy. So you know there was a lot of very, very, very interesting downloads that we got. I got at least. Wow. Incredible. Incredible. Because I just started to notice the feeling of the embodiment of luck is possibility. Like you feel possible, you feel capable, you feel able to move, to do it, to go that way, to make things happen, to emerge from the sands of time, to resurface what has been frozen. This is what I want to talk to you guys today about. Okay. The video, I called it Guardians of Joy. We were originally called the Defenders of Joy, but I like the word Guardians better. And this is a new paradigm of awakening because joy needs to be protected. The energy of joy or happiness, what we call happiness generally in culture, the good life, what does that really mean? To be happy, to be free, to be light, to be positive. And the reason I'm saying that the gods are returning through you is because you have that energy. You chose to be in this incarnation. We are in a gods and goddess school of sorts. That's what life is. And if you haven't discovered that by now, and maybe you're resisting this information and you're kind of closing up, that might be that same frozen sense reacting to this, right? So the shadow in the background of something reacting to this level of embodiment without theory and a freedom of transcending and going beyond our biology. Okay. So this is really about helping us tap into our senses. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean just be oversensitive all the time. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the gods are returning through you as you. So the more wisdom has to be released here for us to take on a different edge. And we are edgeless, truly. We are boundless, truly. But this is to all of humanity who want to be in the decision of being in lack, because it's a choice, and the decision of disempowerment. You are so powerful that you could perceive yourself as disempowered. Okay? You are a God being, but they try to cut that from you. They make you go into the densest form in humanity, right? They put you into this physical meat suit thing. And the thing about this is, yes, there's a light speed internet, the speed of experiences, Hermes, mercurial energies, that I get all that. But it's almost like joy or passion is so different to the words ego and desire, but people like to overlap those two words. So they say destroy the ego and desire, thereby also destroying their joy and their passion. Ooh, say it to him again, Uncle Makara. Say it to him again. No, you have to rewatch it. Okay. So, expanding without guilt. Okay. You are the master of today. And you have to take on the difficulty of humanity. That is your work here. If you ever felt heavier than before, you're being audited for massive upgrades. Okay, right now. The denseness and the heaviness is reminding you of your human nature, human form more and more. So you will want to feel lighter after a certain point. And we're setting in the patterns of predictability because we want to have a potentiality, and we know our potentiality, and we can look at many different maps and try to study it from different angles, right? But I think the real issue is like, here's my issue with the word magic, okay? So magic implies that it is an illusion, that what you're doing is not real, that it's trickery, that it's mimicry. However, I think this is just a misconception of magic, or the idea that magic just means something that is not so possible. But if you started to understand that magic is a technology, it's a sensual technology, meaning you're going into your extra senses, your extrasensory perception. Okay. So if we start to point fingers at these words, we won't ever learn what we really are doing, which is what? We're way showers. We melt these hard constructs of persona into the one, the law of one, the 0 point, and then becoming the one. Okay. Because the power of consciousness is about the ability to be boundless and to perceive boundlessness. Okay. So you might feel trapped right now and separate in your very physical experience of this thing. But it's really such a deep presence that you want to first of all meet. Okay. Let me just quickly share this with the tribe. I forgot to do that. Boom, boom. All right, let's go. We're live, ladies and gentlemen. You already know what it is. Ryan G, a very nice challenge last night with the leprechaun energies of Uncle P. It's pretty epic. The rum was rummaging. Rummin. The rum was rummin. This is Claudia. Yep. All right, cool, guys. So don't be afraid of embodying something that you cannot see yet, because you are an innovator. And I have understood that all of the labels in my life that I've placed on myself or have been given to me, let's just say, a teacher. Some people consider me a teacher. And that's a label, So I have to understand how to see that label with the self-love, with the joy. You see, we're not only the guardians of this thing, but we're the progenitors, we're the generators of joy. Because we've got to create it. We've got to create fun for ourselves. Okay? You don't just get it by proxy of living here. Okay? It's not just like something that's handed down to you. You've got to generate it. You've got to create it and then preserve it, protect it. Don't let people take it from you. Okay? They might want to stomp out your positive energy. But don't let them. I mean, who are they to have consent to take away your emotions? That's wild to me, right? Who are they to ever come into your life and set a boundary, a rule stronger than your own boundary and rule for your own life? What's going on here, right? And so the real question is, how much of an intimidation do they have over your lives? And you really have to second guess this part of you at times. But understand that you can sometimes come off as very intimidating. Like, oh, fuck, like, I don't know, it's too much for me right now. Okay. Or I can't handle that. Or I just want to do things the normal way. Okay. I've heard a lot of people talking like this. This is normie talk. This is NPC talk, guys. I've heard it myself talking like this. I just want to settle down and just be happy, Why aren't you being that now? What's going on here, right? I just want to have a normal life and, just I want to have a successful career. I want to be, married and have kids, and there's nothing wrong with these things that I'm saying, but again, it's like, that's it. Wait, you came here into humanity with all of the potentials and the infinity You are a god or a goddess in training. And now you're taking like Billy Bob and his friends for soccer practice. Okay. Now, yes, you can still maintain your godfidence in that moment and maintain it. However, I'm saying prioritize this time that you have on earth. Okay. Prioritize the time that you have on earth. Okay. We only have some time here on this earth. And so you want to transfer yourself into your own realm and pull from that realm different ideas and then send it back into the consciousness, into the akasha, right? And then it starts to form something. You start to stream down all these epiphanies and downloads. And this happens very organically if you're looking from the new pair of eyes. Okay? I'm hearing the thunder outside my window and I'm feeling it. Okay? Vajra codes, Vajra body time. Okay? Do you guys know what the Vajra body is? Anybody? Nobody? Vajra body? Okay, let's look this up. The Vajra body uses a Buddhist term in Tantra and Yoga. Indestructible body. Dorje Luz. Wow, that's a cooler name. Okay, we should just call it Dorje Luz. I'm making them Dorje Luz. We are the cinema. I can watch it forever. The Vajra body, which is called the Dorje Luz, is the indestructible body because it will not die or decompose forever. So it's your immortality body, bro. Your thunderbolt body. Wow. Okay, we got to figure this out, how to tap into Vajra body. Okay, next level. Next time on Primal Sutra. Okay. That's wild, huh? But people had these frozen parts of themselves, these frozen energy centers, these frozen senses of the extra senses. Okay. So they have frozen claircognizance. And I use the term frozen because the ice sometimes has to melt, right? For you to actually experience the energy of your intuitive gifts. You've almost stored it to the back of your mind and made it dormant. Okay. You might have noticed this when you were younger, like you could see things, do things, hear things, you had conversations with yourself, you know, there were all of these different things happening, but you didn't find a way to integrate it until you were an adult. So now you got to really piece through those different moments and timelines and look at it through a new, fresh pair of eyes, the pair of eyes that are alive from right now, looking at the past, not judging the past, but simply observing it and watching it for what it was and what it can be. Because there's always a perception shift. As a wizard, a shaman, a gatekeeper, whatever you want to call yourself, okay, you have to understand that you are here as a representation of you. And you have to understand that the world is you. Everything is happening internally. You're not controlling anything on the outside. You're controlling the internal world. Okay. So that internal self-control, visualization, discipline, the ability to have those energies and frequencies that you really want to feel like, and you embody them and you wear them without wanting to read something up on it and getting the analysis about it. I've done that too, and I know that approach. Okay. Know it enough intellectually, hoping that it will help me transcend into that. That's not how it works here. This is direct reflection, direct revelation with the moment. Okay. So you will notice it from moment to moment, your own intuition, your own spirituality, your own sacred indigenous codes in your DNA that are frozen, you know, they need to be unlocked in a certain way. Now, I mean, it sucks because, people who are like had the divine oracle feminine wisdom power were the witches back in the day, and a lot of them got burned at the stake, you see. So whenever somebody goes against the grain or against evolutionary um paradigms that are already formed there in structure in society, then it's a threat to that society because it doesn't move like others move. It doesn't do like others do. It doesn't match how others match, right? And understanding that if you are this kind of rare breed X-Men type of human who's watching this right now, I want you to really understand that your powers, they're not for showmanship, okay? And trust me, I've probably been there too in terms of many lifetimes. I mean, I am this entertaining mofo, right? However, at the same time, I understand that I'm not just there to self-entertain and just amuse myself on this journey. I'm here to learn something, be curious, take advantage of all of the resources and the resourcefulness that is available to me, because I have been handed a great privilege to be where I'm at and be who I am in this matrix and roll in this as Uncle Makara, okay? So I feel blessed to be here. And I want to thank anybody who's watched this far or watched this journey or following along some of the segments of this process because it goes very deep and very infinite very quickly, right? And I know it can be overwhelming for some, but really just start to breathe with yourself, okay? And understand that you're worthy no matter what. Don't buy into this idea of worth, okay? That I am worthy enough in order to, okay? I think you've just forgot your own divinity. I think that's really what's going on. Because you've seen your godlike powers at certain moments, right? But you've doubted yourself. You've been like, maybe I do that, but it's probably a fluke, right? You say these things not knowing the importance of your skill. It's a skill that you train, just like anything else. Your intuition can be weaponized. It's a skill set. It is something that you repeat over and over and over again. And soon enough, you know, um, I remember once in high school, right? I was like guessing this is such a childish thing to do, but I was guessing the bra color, right, of women, and I was tuning into like some kind of like I don't know if it was X-ray vision or what, but in that moment, I do remember that me picking up and sensing like it's got to be red, right? Or like it's got to be pink. Like just my mind giving me certain downloads and answers like that. And a few times when I'd gotten it right, it blew my mind and I'd kind of scraped it to the side, you know? I was sort of like, yeah, it's kind of a fluke. Maybe I just got it a couple of times, not acknowledging my power. So this is something that we have to train ourselves in, okay? Is acknowledgement of our own capacity as mystics, okay? This is a technology of the invisible internal world. This is all yours to maintain, guys. And a lot of the stuff that we see on the physical, this is a process of what you do in the internal world. What are you thinking about all day, bro? What are you thinking about? You got to be that now. Okay. If you're thinking about sex, why not be a sexual, sensual human being instead of thinking about it and putting it up to the mind all the time? If you want to be rich, why do you have to keep it in your mind and think about all your taxes and deductibilities and, have a finance chart and put it into this huge vacuum container of other banking services? Okay. Instead of what? Bring it down to the heart and then making buying decisions that really align with you. Okay, so this is what we're really talking about is we're becoming more sensitive, correct, but we're not being oversensitive. We have the spidey senses to recognize these gifts, but we're not crying at an after party because someone made fun of one of our deities. Okay, we need to create a certain level of strength because if you're choosing the witchcraft route, and I understand that it's all about no, hey, no, I'm living in the 21st century, doing something mean to it, doing better than anybody who's into it. Scream from the haters, got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero needs his theme music. All one man should have all that power. Okay, it's all about power. It's all about power maintenance. That's the Sith Lords in this shit, right? Those are the elite people. They want the power. Okay. They're hungry for the power. Okay. Now, what is the power really? It's the energy of life itself. Once you get to a certain level and you understand that you've been celebrating death more than you've been celebrating life, you get into a very, very dreary, dull state of mind because you notice the darkness and the shadows of humanity around you and in you and in the people around you. If they are in the people around you, that means it's within you too. And you got to really clear that stuff up internally, that gunk internally, because you might be reacting to someone on the outside world, but what are they really saying? Okay. Who are they really in this thing? Yo, yo. Oh, guys, I didn't see the chat. My bad. Hey, Bariqua and Mathis is here. Lit. Okay, let's go. Yeah, man. So we are the guardians of joy. So we have to protect this thing like it's our little baby, right? We have to preserve it. We have to nurture it and raise it into immortality. Okay. And that's really what we're doing through our life. I mean, our life's work is a masterpiece that's developed over time. It didn't happen overnight. We might like to think it happened overnight, and trust me, I've been people overnight. Okay, I've done many character attunements, activations where I felt like, damn, I'm a different person today, right? Totally, totally. But you are that naga shedding its second skin in a way, constantly refining and getting to the edge of it, because your heart replays what your mind needs to fix and work on, right? So your heart shows the mind its loops, okay? Where the mind is looping on certain topics. And then you can bring it back to the heart engagement with it and start to notice it differently. Because really, we had this spiritual amnesia for a really, really, really long time. And we keep losing it every time we go into a new physical body, right? So one of the things to understand is I love just being like a kind of a researcher in the beginning phases of this thing, but then slowly becoming more direct gnosis, right? Practitioner. So in the beginning, it's perfectly valid to do all the research on myths and different, family lineages and star lines and whatever, like chi lines. Okay, do all of that. Do all of that. But slowly, you're just going to notice the patterns that emerge from doing all of that, and then you want to piece those together and just make it something so easily tangible and manageable that you move with it, right? You use the energies of your weird philosophical wacky ideas, right? And you make that something that is sustainable for you. Okay. So for instance, I'll give you a personal example of this because this is a vague concept right now. Let's say a part of me that's super scared. Okay. So a part of me that's super scared may look like a certain character. Let's choose Purge the Cowardly Dog. Okay. Okay. So now, whenever I get scared, if I start going, right, like Courage the Cowardly Dog, it'll kind of throw me off, right? I'll be like, what the fuck is my ego trying to do, bro? Like, what is that? What is that dog doing? Why is it whimpering like that? It's being a wimp. And it's purring like a cat. It's wimp purring. Okay. Okay. So now the next time I'm sad, my ego looks at this sadness with a ridiculous sound that's tapped onto it. Now that's how we're actually practicing being a guardian of joy. You guys get that? We're using our lightness, our sense of humor as a preservation mechanism and to allow ourselves to shock our human form, which gets shocked very easily, let's be honest, okay? Our human forms loves to get startled by things, okay? Whoa, 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 okay? Like some little noise or something, and we freak out, right? That's sort of how we've made ourselves in the 21st century. So you have to really calmate. You have to calm yourself down by understanding that you are beyond these five senses. You are not just what you see, what you hear, what you touch, and what you experience. You are also the hidden gifts beyond. Like you might have heard a really weird song stuck in your head for days. That's probably one of your deities trying to give you some code that you're not understanding. Okay. So these little things I've caught on as a clairaudient shaman, more so clairaudient shaman. Yesterday I was almost smelling the same alcohol that Ryan G was tasting on the other side of the world. So I was like, okay, interesting. Why did I just smell that? Right. So Claire olfaction. I don't know if that's a thing, but very interesting. But don't just go with this idea that, we just have to destroy ego and desire, because your ego and desire may even include your joy. Okay. So it just means that any ego and desire that's coming from lack. Okay. That's what you want to understand it as, more so. Okay. Guys, do we have any questions? Anything coming up? Anything emerging? How's your Abundance August been doing recently? What's been new? Because I've been getting these visions, man. These visions have been from, I think they're from some other planet, man. It's got to be like Nibiru or something like this. Um, yeah, I've just been going through these different worlds, various echo chambers of spiritual dimension shifting. That's what I've been doing. I don't know about you guys though. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we do have to do human things, and not be in the spiritual world. I get that too. I totally get that. But also I've noticed when I move my body nowadays, I'm moving it in a very spiritual way. And I don't think a lot of people understand what that means. Is that like I'm floatier? No, I don't think so. Okay. It means I have more intentionality and consciousness of my movements. I understand what it's doing. It's trying to unlock some frozen part of me and some energy. So what I'll now do is I will like give myself a massage, or I'll tap the certain points, right? And I will just instantly release any stored gunk that is emerging. And we do pick up a lot of gunk through other people at times too. So it's really important to do that. Helios, yeah. Helios, right? You are the center of the universe. You have to understand how to come back to that choice point, right? That's the Helios tech. And all is spiritual, even the mundane things. Yeah, precisely. And that's the very reason why, these advanced monks would give people these meditation exercises like peel this almond, right? Or something like that. Like you need to have such a refined sense of delicate, uh, attention to be able to do something like that, you know? So, or just like we did this mindfulness exercise in my dad's workshop, where I was speaking at the same workshop um, for West Bengal University. And basically, he got people to eat a peanut or something like that, right? But then before that, they said, look at the peanut, look at it from all angles. Then lick the peanut. Then, put the peanut in your mouth. Don't swallow, right? You have to flush it around with your tongue. Then, so you're just like slowing down the step by step of eating, which is conscious eating, right? And it's such a simple concept, but we don't do it, man. I know I'm still eating and watching some shit, or scrolling my phone. I know I'm doing that, okay? But eating, we have to change our relationship to this thing if we want to change our relationship to our energy, right? Because if the gods are truly returning through us, that means we have a huge responsibility on our hands, okay? We've got to understand that there will be demons and opposite energies, anti-yous, attacking and trying to siege you. And that's why if you join the witchcraft path, well, you got to be strapped spiritually in the sense, right? You got to know and work with certain beings or armies and create alliances and tribe and community to be able to preserve thyself, right? Downloads about 108 coming up a lot. Yeah, most malas are 108. Yeah, malas do the mala thing and so on. And yeah, repetition sucks, but it is what has to be done. Yeah, yeah. And again, I like to, even when I'm repeating it, there's always a slight difference, like a very, I wouldn't even say subtle difference, but very slight difference every time that I'm doing it. And that's what I'm looking for, because for me, and I say this on my behalf of any people who feel like me, I prefer to have more variety in life than certainty. Okay. I prefer to have more variety in life than certainty. That's one of my more important core needs, is to feel novelty in situations. And that's why you might see me tapping into different forms or archetypes or avatar versions of myself every day. That's how I'm able to shapeshift. That's how I'm able, because it's already embedded into the code of what I know to be true. Okay. Doesn't mean I have to pretend to be a reptilian. It just means that I have to work towards my own inner infrastructure and make it something that I'm really fascinated about. Because really, I'm fascinated about that, right? Like the 108 and how your name means that, and then 108 times that you chant the mantra. I think that's a very powerful way to even put two and two together and just maybe chant your name. Because if you are chanting your name, technically you're adding energy to your name. You're feeding the loosh to your name. But I don't think a lot of shamans have looked into this. I think people overlook it, really. But the power that, you know how some fairies can know your name, and that's so dangerous for the whole tribe and community because they can move with the name and do things with the name, right? And create illusions around the name. So when you work with fae, usually I give them a fake name, right? But generally, um, it's just a very good idea to not expose everything that you have, because they can be able to know that information. Okay. So what I would say to you is, if you charge your name through a mala bead or a mantra like that, now that bead is associated with your name, but also now you've charged your name. Now, whenever people call upon your name, they get charged. You see? Try this. Just say anyone's name out loud, okay? And see what you feel. Richard Branson. Did your energy shift? My body language shifted, right? My chest just went up like this, okay? Try it with someone else. Prince Harry. The lightning starts to thunder. Okay. Madonna. Can you sense the difference in energy when I just say the name? Okay. So there's a lot in a name. It's 1/3 of the soul. And if we really understand that this journey, all paths are paths to God, right? This is what Parahamsa Yogananda says. There's nowhere else for the soul to go, bro. Okay. It's just going to find its way around, get lost in the jungle somewhere, come around, and then find God again, right? It's indestructible bliss. It's the Vajra body that we started talking about in the beginning of this, okay? It's that, because we really understand that we might fear our own powers as a shaman. And this was one of the questions, and we had a live on that as well. If you scare yourself, that means you're at the edge of your potential. okay? But you now have to create structure to avoid insanity, okay? Psychopathy, okay? Because what the psychopath experiences is just a hard outer shell, okay? It puts up a hard outer shell, an outer wall of toughness, so it cannot be betrayed, it cannot be backstabbed, cannot be hurt, okay? And the energy is closed off from humanity. It's not soulful, right? Hey there, Claudia. So the soulfulness, like if you guys haven't watched the Disney movie Soul, right? Highly recommend it. Okay. Highly recommend that movie. Okay. Mystic Moonbeam, that's one of my favorite characters in there, man. That guy's funny. But yeah, that movie itself, it just reminds you of the jazz element that we kept talking about in Primal Sutra over and over again. That you have to have this element of jazz, this quirkiness, this improvisational quality of spontaneity as a shaman, right? And not get stuck on one thing or one concept. I'm looking for that novelty, but I want to conclude things as well as we move along, not leave things up in the air and inconclusive. So we have talked about a lot of different things. And hopefully we can all piece it together through some kind of a holy text, a grimoire, a place where we have all of our kind of perceived ideas about this down on paper, something tangible, something that we can actually go back to and reference. Okay. So that's going to be a huge path working in a project, but I'm all for it. After I get this exam out the way, I'm going back to socializing again and studying human social dynamics. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, it's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to put me way the fuck out of my comfort zone because I asked someone the other day, yeah, right? He's like one of my cousin's friends or whatever. I was like, "How's your Riz, bro?" Right? I told him. He said, "My online Riz is amazing. My in-person Riz, it's off. I need to work on it." Okay, and he's being honest, right? I get it, but this generation so much like that. We're so used to being online that we have these online personas and we forget who we really are. Okay. We forget our humanity. We forget that we are a person, who grew up, who had a whole life story, a life's journey of arguments, of travel, of different memories, right? We forget all of that. We're just like, who's in front of me right now? Okay. And I think that presence is important because that's the greatest performance enhancing drug, you know, is presence, is deep presence. Mm, need to work on it too. Yeah. It's a really difficult one. And, our egos are so wrapped up around being a very specific way that anything that's unknown creates a lack of safety within ourselves. But really, the unknown is potentiality. If you start thinking of it differently, you start getting better results and different results. Okay. So you don't have to feel like you're carrying the humanity, just be caring for humanity. Okay. That's it. I think a lot of us, we overcomplicate it with a lot of rules and distortions and many different codes and, but my other culture said this, and that now the culture that I'm connected to is saying the opposite. Oh no. Okay. How will you integrate that as a shaman? That's my question to you. How are you going to integrate two parts of you that do not belong, that feel like they're so far apart and split from each other? That's what a healer does. We repair the split or the splits. You have all of these different guides, but if you keep splitting into each identity, That's going to be dangerous for your waking life. So you have to be the split keeper. Okay. It's like the crypts keeper, but cooler. You have to notice the splits, the fragments, and you have to be the puppet master, the one who understands the whole puzzle and not the pieces, because you're not these pieces, right? So I think it's really important that each of us understand that there are non-tangible mastery qualities within us, you know, and it's less analysis and it's really more intuitive. Okay, it's now a feeling set. You might have a more feeling sense of the world, like you're going out and maybe you're going to your neighborhood and you're picking something up in the environment now, right? Nowadays. Whereas back in the day, you'd just be like, oh, that's just a park, bro. Who cares? Right? But once you're spiritually attuned to this other world, to the possibility of these beings affecting us and working with us and creating tribunal like astral agreements with us, we have to try to almost take on their perspective of how they see us, right? They see us as these funny characters, man. These Terrans, that all those Terrans again, right? We're almost like we're not a laughing stock exactly, but they do look us with at us with awe and are very perplexed at our human behavior, right? That's as far as I've understood as I've tapped into certain, I've channeled a lot, okay, over the years, guys, right? I've talked to different intergalactic beings, angels, demons, you name it. I've talked to um, who else have I talked to? The Ghost Realm King. I've talked to the Fairy King of the Underworld. Um, Different water deities, a lot of water deities and Atlantean deities in our path working. Okay. So if you're connected to the water in any way, Bruce Lee's Be Like Water in any way, you're in the right place, right? We want to stay afloat. We're not going to drown. Okay. So we're here to stay afloat, and we're here to stay afloat the concept of joy, of deep present joy. Okay. This is like a D-peg. That sounds so wrong. I'm not gonna say that. It's like a JPEG. Um, okay. Any questions, guys? Anything that's coming up? This is a very interesting topic because I think we really need to bring back making joy cool again, bro. Like positivity cool again. What the fuck are with all these, you know? I'm so alone as I can loner down the road again. Okay, what are these songs, bro? Okay, I slit my heart into a million tiny pieces, man. Da, 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 da. I could make a goth song on the spot, bro. Seriously. It's very depressing because it brings you down with it, right? Da, 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 and then the rock, like the slow rock that just gets into your head, right? And starts to move you into even a deeper sadness. And like the percussion instruments that are adding to that sadness, like, right? And the whole entire thing is just like becoming this entire engagement with this particular emotion. And now you're linking it, a psychic link you're creating with this song, like associating it to your breakup. Holy shit. Okay. That's dangerous. That's like giving a kid plutonium. Yo, get that kid away from that song right now. Okay. That weird screamo metal that he's listening to that's telling him to decapitate babies or something, right? Or telling him to like take spawn on the world because we're all spawns of Satan or some shit. Like we need people away from music like that, bro. Like I don't even think you guys know the phenomena that goes into this. And now, of course, a lot of artists they find it as art, they work with it as art. But also, art is illusion, guys. Okay, art is not something very real. Reality is artistic, reality is beautiful, but through the lens of an artist. Correct? So we really have to understand this, guys. Just because it's art, it doesn't mean you can justify your wrongdoing. Okay, fuck that. Okay. Yeah, but it's just art, bro. Yeah, but you're hurting people as a byproduct of that art. Art is meant to heal, at least in my opinion. Okay. I could be completely off on this, but this is my philosophy about art. Art is meant to heal. Art is meant to heal the planet and have people talk about certain issues that are difficult to talk about through another field, through another framework, right? Through a musical lens, through a more artistic lens, so that it can get and seep into people's lunar consciousness, their back of their minds, deeper, right? Because when we look at an art piece, are we really just looking at like, some portrait of some guy like outdoors? No, there's like a storyline that's being generated. All the colors are giving you these different feelings. There's like a subtle way that they've used the brush strokes as they painted, right? And so all of these different elements we miss out when we're so caught up in our day-to-day mundane, do this, do that, go here, have this drink, do this other thing that way. And we get caught up in the patterns of the day rather than creating our own patterns throughout the day. So we have to meet the patterns of the day with our patterns, right? That's the art form. And what I've noticed is once I start to work with how my energy wants to move and I trust in it, I get a lot more work done and I got a lot more productive actually. So I'm like, what am I motivated to do? I'm not motivated to write anything or, do some research right now. I'm not motivated to watch another video about this stuff and like learning the math principles. But what I am inspired to do is read some stoicism. And I'm going to read some stoicism until I get a sudden download, right? A sudden epiphany that moves me. And then I'm going to do something else, maybe do some push-ups. As I'm done with the push-ups, I'm like, whoa, different state of consciousness. I'm now shifted instantaneously in those moments, right? So then after that, I'm much more in a receptive state to put my mind into some books, correct? Then when I initially started out like worrying about like, should I do this or should I do that? Should I have this or should I? No, just move, right? That's the mentality. Like don't overthink it. Don't get stuck in the mind trap of like this or that, this or that. It's like both. Yo, choose, decide, move with it, right? Get that energy because honestly, that helps you and saves you a lot of time. Okay. It saves you a lot of mental time. It's being saved. So that's why it's so important for you to cut off the TV channel, right? Almost. It's like I unsubscribed for a while. Okay. Right. And so then you're like, okay, now I'm at ease. Now I'm at peace because I'm finding my center again. I'm finding out who I am without anybody because I am everybody. Right. If I merge with everybody, I understand and I take on their issues. And then now they're a part of my like, consciousness. And now I'm thinking about them all the time. And now they're a part of my storyline, right? However, now what if I saw them as a peer and not just up here? Ooh, okay. What if I saw them as like a part of this spiritual Avengers team that we're building, right? It's kind of I don't know what we are, man. This is like we are definitely like some kind of X-Men, right? We're like mutants of the spiritual world. We want to do things a different way. We want to do it. We want to optimize our spirituality, essentially. Okay. We want to look at this thing like an Olympic level sport instead of like you know, pass the Dutch upon it, or just like throwing the bean bag to the person and then they can talk once they hold the bean bag or something like this, or like um like doing a cacao ceremony for the sake of like getting some chick or something like that. You know what I mean? Like these men's movement trends, bro. Like I'm saying, hey, do what you can, but I'm just saying like you just got to live up to your potential, okay? Don't try to formulate yourself too much into a certain kind of way that I'm always like that to maintain that 24/7. And that's not sitting right with you, right? It's not feeling real. It's feeling disingenuine, inauthentic. So of course you're going to feel more like a shell than an actual human who has all of these ideas and thoughts and concerns about themselves, right? And I get it. Like that version of you is so, so crucial to tap into because you get a lot of people talking to you talking down on you, bro, right? They're like, oh yeah, but then who are you to give me advice, bro? Like, what the fuck? Where is this coming from, right? Did I ask you for your opinion of me? Like, specifically, like, if I did, then I guess, okay. But where is that coming from, right? And even that reaction shows me something, right? The way that I'm reacting like that shows me something about my own construct and my own ego, right? So all of these things, you can almost zoom out and see all of it as like one big theater, right? I was thinking about this the other day. What if theater was your teacher, right? What if the theater of the world, the virtual insanity, okay, as we found out last night, um, what if all of this was just a theater? And that's the way that I choose to see the world. Yo, everybody's pretending, right? Everybody's pretending to be someone. Okay. They want that like extra feeling of like feeling good or that little quirkiness that we get from being so attitudinal, right? And shift through our beingness. Like we feel like ballers when we do that, right? We feel like kings. We feel like ancient Martians walking through timeline jumps. Okay. And I'm all for the spiritual cockiness. Like I'm building a brand off of it, so I understand it. But again, it's not like it's only for me. It's we're creating a collective around the humor, right? So it's such a powerful understanding when we can be the guardians of joy by being joyful around serious interventions. Okay. Now, I'm not saying go into a wedding and crack jokes or some shit. Like that's not the way you perceive my information and then just go and move with it. Okay. What I am saying is you explore the edges of your playfulness in different moments that might seem more gloomy or down or like just a winter's day or something like that, right? You know, on a winter's day when you make a decision and you're like, maybe I'll get hot chocolate or maybe I'll do something differently, right? Or maybe I'll snuggle up under the covers and watch some old school movie that I haven't watched in like a decade, okay? Um, those decisions, right, are altering the mood, altering the chemicals in the brain, right, altering your life. So you're actually being a bioshaman by sitting at home watching an old movie, right? But there's chemicals in your brain, there's nostalgic blueprints being downloaded, right? But you're not even noticing that. You're just like, oh yeah, it's just another day. Just watch this kid's movie. It's kind of nice, right? But it's like you're not seeing it through shamanic eyes. And that's what I'm telling you. Bring your shamanic eyes alive. See things in a very different way. See things through your unique perspective, your unique lens. Try to be the perceiver, to be the one, the watcher, right? You are the watchers, right? Not that you're the fallen or whatever, but you are the ones looking, okay? And that's the thing. We have to constantly start perceiving the world around us as a support to the graduation of our spiritual consciousness. A lot of people just love samsara, right? They love this pleasure paradise place. And I kind of get it. Like you kind of have to love it so much until you lose an attachment towards that love and it's more of a beingness, right? It's like if you have this thing in your mind, like unfulfilled, unsatisfied, like a desire that's just in the back of your mind, it's probably giving you a sign that you need to lean into it somehow. Like, and you know, it's coming from something, right? It's coming from a deep yearning for truth or beauty, or maybe creating a lineage or for the next generation or anything like this, right? These questions are things that come up, you know? And I think that once we start to look at ourselves less as these metallic automaton-like beings through using all this tech, but understanding our inner tech, we're slowly going to remember, not only remember our Godfidence, remember our God forms and Goddess forms, but they will start coming back online. Okay. And we'll get all of these old memories, or I've had memories of timelines that I didn't know existed. Okay. So that goes to show you that you are embodying something that's way, way, way beyond tradition and traditional ways of thinking about something. okay? Because you've gone beyond that. That's why your mind can even conceive and perceive of such a concept like that, right? So we have to give yourself the credit for being able to latch on to those specific imaginations and understand them. Again, you are so powerful that you made yourself feel unlucky or lacking in something, okay? That's how powerful you are. You created that sense of unworthiness with you. You created that sense of like, I don't deserve that or something like this, right? And it's through the power of understanding that I need to place self-love on my labels, right? I need to understand that, yeah, I'm late to class, but that doesn't mean I love myself less. What? I'm late to class, and then that's somehow going to shift my identity around and like make me like a different human being all of a sudden. Yo, I can be mean one day. I could be a total sweetheart the next day. Okay. It don't matter. We are shifting human beings. We've got to understand that all is change, all is movement. And we've got to learn how to surf this wave, right? And come back to something congruent at least. Because women, let me tell you this, you want a congruent man, correct? You want someone who is a congruent man, who is completely authentic and unapologetically themselves. They're not putting on some kind of a facade. They're not trying to get into your pants. They're not trying to weasel their way into your work circle or some shit, right? They're not trying to wait by the traffic stein like, I wonder what she's doing, okay? They're not guffaling with their coworkers. Okay? He's congruent. Meaning what? It's like the Dolby Music Theater, right? That bass that's a protective, almost a bass sound, like a right? That's the energy of the masculine. It's got to be a containment, but not an entrapment. You cannot possess anymore. I think the problem is we've got so possessive as a culture, right? Especially in regards to like really understanding, well, relationships. But let me tell you this, guys, okay? I've started to look at this path very differently. And it started when I was looking at my own fantasies and the way that my mind would go into these different dreams and these different worlds. I started to notice there were certain patterns emerging. And I think the solution for all of us is really, it's simple to just say that it's Tantra, but it's really Tantra, which means merging with the divine. Okay. So nobody wants to talk about this, and nobody really even gets this understanding, I think. Okay. Even myself, I'm beginning to fully understand and really dive into this. Okay. We need to stop seeing other human beings as possessions. We need to stop having relationships based on possession, where we basically control somebody's sexual pleasure outside of the relationship with us. Okay. Pleasure and sex are your God-given birthright. And the whole world, if everybody was having good sex, do you think there would be more wars or less? Do you think we'd be more financially abundant or less? Because it shows me a golden age is a fertile age, right? It's the age of abundance, age of agriculture. So my advice to anybody, listening to this is start living in that golden age now. Stop waiting and watching these YouTube channels, not this one particularly. Continue watching this one. All the other ones suck, right? Just playing. But trying to find that, good girl. That's Disney fantasy. Okay. Nobody's just 100% good girl. Nobody's 100% baddie. Okay. That's a Disney fantasy. Stop believing in the dating society and start having sex for pleasure. Right? Join some community. Start believing that women who are maybe high exposure bodies are not less valuable. Maybe take that on as a thought form. It doesn't have to be true. Okay? But take on these understandings, because if you get controlled by these understandings, you understand we're moving into a matriarchy, guys, from a patriarchy, right? It's a masculine age, but we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is a feminine age. So the matriarchy is coming back, and this is why women are starting OnlyFans and becoming more sexually abundant, because their power is located in their sexuality. Okay. And it goes to show you that, you know, Kolkata even has this movement now of women being freely open in the night, actually. It's wonderful. It's amazing. Like the the movement just started from saying like women just getting up, right? These soul sisters, these fucking badass, you know, shape-shifting queens, you could say, um, got up and said, we will take over the nights and we will understand we won't feel safe to not go out at night, right? As women, we feel safe, unsafe going out at night, you know, unsafe going into certain locations. And it was amazing to see that, man, because as a man, we were also not just supposed to have one person. And well, this is just what I believe, okay? This is why biologically, you as a man, you have sperm, okay? It can rebuild fully in your testicles within 3 days, right? Once you are having good tantric sex every day, you are able to reprogram and rewire your subconscious mind and take control of your future and your destiny, right? So the mental plane is what you want to start representing your basic way of your living, your sacred geometry, right, is based off of how you were able to do what they call enlightenment in a matter of seconds by crushing down that sense of I and just streaming into that oneness. Like if you take away the direct perceiver, there's just void. There's just an empty space. You zoom into an object, empty space, right? So empty space does not mean it's an empty existence. The empty space is full of potentiality, full of life force, full of something that can be done with it and to it. And this is why recycling works, right? Because matter needs to find a way to move on to a different form of itself to be able to sustain itself. Okay. So this has been a deep live, man. We talked about a lot of different things, but I think but that tantra perspective is a very, you know, again, I know it's a bit controversial as a perspective, but I honestly think that we've been getting so personal and possessive and clinging onto the idea this is my person, I need to constantly have them around me all the time, they're mine, and if they do not go based on these very rigid rules of mine, then they can show themselves to the door. uh Bro, how about you just play and have a fun date? Like what is this? Like, why are you going Ebenezer Scrooge on me? Like all of a sudden, right? Like, what's going on here? Like, why can't we have a fun interaction of males and females again? Like, as the defenders of joy, this you have to laugh at this stuff, right? The red pill stuff, the ridiculousness of society, right? All the randomness, like you gotta just laugh it off, man. Like, what is this, right? It's actually funny if you really think and sit down and you look at it, like someone stormed the Capitol. What? Like somebody came in and like slapped someone else in the Oscars, right? Or whatever, like Will Smith did, right? Or like somebody, like you have to look at these events and be like, what? This is what society made a headline, right? Someone said some rude comment to someone in the Met Gala. Like, what? This is what we're worried about as society? Are we not spiritual entrepreneurs? We're, you know, expansive beings and like moving through like expansion without guilt, right? That's the biggest message I want to end with. Expansion without guilt. Do you ever do something just for yourself? And then afterwards, you feel guilty about it. Like, oh, others deserve this more. Or oh, I wonder if this is too much for me. I don't know. I don't really deserve. Like, do you find yourself downplaying your own self like that? That is something for you to really look at because I've noticed it in myself too, where I've stopped myself from actually actualizing this greatest version. I've actually cut myself off from the loosh, from the power of this experience. And I don't know what happened last night, guys. Like myself and Ryan G, we did this kind of guided visualization through the Celtic Kairs, and we both like kind of had our dragon beings, and we floated through the astral like a boomerang. We sent our dragon beings into the astral to come back with different downloads. And now today, I'm just like talking and talking. I'm like I'm like Yap Master 3000, man. I swear, on here, I can keep talking and talking. Like I can go on for another 2 hours if I wanted to, but I need to work as well. So I need to also create my own boundaries with my own timing. Okay. But I would love here to be here talking all day. Okay. But we got to also take action on these things. So I want you to remind yourself, whoever is watching, whoever is listening, you are a guardian of joy. Protect it with all your might. Protect your happiness and your state of good beingness, feeling positive. Keep that alive within you, and understand that there is a strength to that. There is not a strength in negativity, actually, because negativity creates more injustice, hiding, deception, a lot of these different vices and virtues, and like these different things come about, and they aren't serving your greatest self. Let's just be honest, right? They're just like little human errors and little glitches in your system, but they're not the real you. Okay. We have to understand distortion from truth. And that's what we do as shamans, right? We go through these invisible worlds and we pull through the divine information that truly belongs and helps us to transcend. Let's see here. Should we do a quick card? Yeah, let's do a quick card to end. Okay, fairy deck. Let's do the fairy deck. Shout out to all the fae. Shout out to all the gorgeous fae around the world. Hey. Okay. What does the collective most need to hear right now? It's the day after the full moon. We still have a portal up till the 22nd. What does the Primal Sutra collective need to hear the most out of everything? If all of my deities, including King of Kerbo, if you could help with this one. Thank you. Is this the one? Follow your passion when it comes to your career. Be the best at what you do. Being compensated for your creative talents. This is the 3 of autumn that I just pulled right now for all of us. So passion when it comes to career. Is it really your career, or is it a calling? Is it something that's moving you towards greater expansion through your character archetype? Because if it's an occupation, then it occupies your mind space, your real estate in your mind. Okay. So the new earth jobs are coming. Make sure you have a new earth side hustle, something where you're connecting to your spiritual tech in some way. There is passion here. There is freedom here. There is integrity here. We need to lead the way and show others how it's done, because no one taught us how to do that. Okay. We need more tribal leaders, spiritual healers out in the collective, healing humanity and sending good positive energy so that we transcend and uplift amongst our darkest shadows. Let's get it. Upward spiral. May we never be the same again. I'll see you guys on the other side. Okay. Let's take over. Yeah. I'm by winning. All right. Let's go. Plus.